Hi guys, MonkeysNuts.com here. This is going to be a little instructional video, instructional, well you know what I mean. Basically, I'm going to be changing over my spark plugs. Now, it's not as simple as you think, because the plugs are underneath this to be able to gain access to them, right down at the back there. The reason for me changing them is that I've established in that plug there and that one there that there's a fault. They're not firing as well as they should. And I did that by basically having the engine turned on, pulling these plugs off and listening to the clicks. And those two are the same. These two are slower, but they're the same as each other basically. So, and it's always good practice just changing the spark plugs over every so often, because I don't know when these were last changed. So hopefully this will fix the problem. If not, so if changing the spark plugs does not solve this problem, there is either a problem with the leads or a problem with the coil pack there. There's two on this car because the two of the plugs actually go into one coil. So yeah, the leads, a set of leads, so 4 leads is 140 or 114, I can't quite remember which. And the coil, the coil packs, they are, what was it? I think it was 70 each or something. So yeah, just basically doing the cheapest method, trying to solve the problem before you go straight in and getting the most expensive one. So, what you will need is just a generic sort of like hexagonal wrench type thing. I use this one, which is I got from a bike because it's just nice and easy to use. A flathead just to undo clips and things, metal clips. What you need is a 10-inch bar extension. And for my spark plugs, they are 5 and 8 inches, or 5/8 or whatever. I don't really know how to say them. A ratchet or a torque wrench, and your 4 new spark plugs. The reason for using this little wrench here is basically to undo these 2 bolts at the top. I've already used the screwdriver to undo a metal clip here, which had this hose on there, which you need to get rid of to be able to remove this box. And the little wire just under here, which I need to pull out as well to get this box off. So the first thing is to remove this, and then we can go from there. Now I just need to remove the little wire under here. Now we can gain access to the 4 spark plugs, which are there. There's another one down there, and there's one just there by the oil sensor. This is the whole filter system. You can see a little rubber O-ring, which basically just gives protection when it's on. There's a little sensor here, and then the air goes down into the actual core of the engine. This is obviously a little air condition sensor. There's a little valve in the box. Now you can basically see everything a bit more clearly, because you've got the coil packs here. This should have a cover on, because you can see there's a screw there. There's a screw like down there somewhere. That should have a cover on it, like a plastic cover. When I got the car, it didn't have it. I haven't been able to find one yet. It's not having that much of an effect unless I discover that the problem basically with these two plugs is in the coils, because then obviously it would make a bit more sense, because if the cover's not there, then they're not getting that much protection. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3 just behind the throttle cable, 4 plugs down there. The little bits on top is just pull off basically, so the easiest thing is to remove the whole cable, then it just clears the whole area up a bit, so that's what we're going to do next. So there's one cable. They should be in length. So as you can see, that's the shortest. They just pop off on both ends basically. Obviously that end goes onto the spark plug, which I can see now. So I'll just remove all of them and then we can go from there. Right, that's all the spark plugs off, and sorry, the cables off. My hands are absolutely filthy now. But you can see the little spark plugs in there. Now they all look in good condition on the outside, apart from 2 here, that one and that one. Now that one has got a lot of oil around it, because here's the oil filler. And basically you can see there's oil all the way around here, so I might just give that a good wipe. I watched a video online that said if there was going to be oil sort of like around the spark plugs, and it's basically said that you take the spark plug off, and then if there's any oil in it, if any oil goes inside the cylinder, just run the engine for a minute and then it should go. So I think that's what I'll do. So what I'm going to do next is basically get those spark plugs off and just have a look at the condition of them. And one thing I didn't mention is that it's always good to have a pack of wet wipes around, because you're going to get, I mean, look there, you can see a big fingerprint there, you're going to get dirty. Right guys, there were some tools that I didn't actually get at first, which I have now. The first one is something like that, which has got a rubber bit in the end, which basically gets the spark plug. I found out that the original one that I had was too short. You need the extension again. And with mine you need a T-bar, one which does that. Basically because of the position of mine, it's a little bit difficult to get them out. Now my dad's got the first one out, showed me how to do it and stuff. That is the old spark plug. It looks fine, apart from the fact that the gap, it should be 0.8 and it wasn't. So we've adjusted that one so that if I need to put that one back in, like as a spare or something, emergency, that should be alright. The new ones are set perfectly as a manufacturer. So now, what I'm going to do is the next one, and then these two here are going to be a little bit difficult to get out. But I'm going to do the next one, hopefully it should be alright. I'm going to put a cover over us because it's raining. Right, so what I've done is put a cover over the ECU and the electrics, just so it doesn't get wet or anything. Now, that one looks a little bit wide as well, so I'll just check the width of that one. As you can see, the fact that I'm moving this about, there's a lot of give in that one. So what I'm going to do is adjust this one, and then hopefully that should be alright. Okay then, so now our spark plug is perfectly set at the right setting. Then we put the new plug in. First we check that the setting on it is right, so this should be 0.8 as well. You can see that if I put my spark plug tool in, it's perfect. Now all we need to do is put this back in there. Yep. And just what you should always do is check that it's actually clean, so you're not putting it back in and then there's going to be dirt in there. What you should try and do is tighten it by hand as much as possible, so that way you're not actually, it's likely that it will go in straight. all the new spark plugs are in, all we need to do is reconnect everything and start it up. So what we do is just everything in reverse. So the spark plug lead goes on that one.
Well, you don't want it on now, do you?
Yeah. Were all the cables on properly?